I want to thank the chairman and the ranking member for having this hearing and for not just in this area, but in all areas looking to reassert this committee and our proper constitutional role with regard to foreign policy. And nowhere is that more needed, in my view, than in this area. The Constitution gives Congress the authority to declare war. If we're not going to declare formal war, if we're going to move forward on the basis of an AUMF, then certainly Congress needs to be more involved. And I think that we've struck, myself and Senator Kaine, a pretty decent balance here in terms of the interests of the committee and its members. And I hope that we can move forward on that basis. I just wanted to address a few of the topics, but say as well, I think that to work on the basis of a 16-year-old AUMF is simply not tenable. Our allies need to know where we are. Our adversaries need to know where we are, that we speak with one voice. Our troops in the field need to know that we speak with one voice. Not having a current AUMF allows Congress, lets us off the hook. It allows us to criticize the administration of either party, when we should be involved and have skin in the game, as it were. And I'd really like, Mr. Bellinger, your thoughts, and I appreciate your thoughts on a sunset. In an ideal world, I think you shouldn't have a sunset. You noted we didn't have a sunset with regard to World War II. I would note that that was against, sovereign government, where, unconditional surrender is the only acceptable outcome. Here, when you're dealing with non-state actors, it's not quite as clear-cut. And I would note that in the House, when we voted on the AUMF in 2001, it was a much different body with different members. 300 members who are in the House today did not vote on the 2001 AUMF. More than 300 members of the House of Representatives. Here in the Senate, you don't know how many senators voted on the 2001 AUMF? 23. So 3/4 of this body has not voted on an AUMF. And when you have a situation like that, we are not speaking with one voice. We are, let off the hook. We can criticize the administration, they can criticize us. We need to be together on matters of foreign policy of this importance. And so that's why I'm so pleased that we're moving ahead on this. Can you give some thoughts on that with regard to a sunset? Is it a little different situation when you're dealing with nation states as opposed to non-state actors?
Well, thank you, Senator. I completely agree with all of your remarks, both on the overall philosophy and particularly the need to back our armed forces. As all of you know, I think all 535 members say we completely back our military. We want to give them the resources they need. But one of the resources is legal resources, legal backing. I, as a lawyer, want our troops to have the legal authorization that they need, and the current law is unclear now as to whether the fight that is being fought is actually legally backed by Congress. And if it actually comes to detention and we start detaining members of ISIS, if they have an opportunity to get into court, are certainly going to say that it's not authorized by Congress. Perhaps the president will fall back on his Article II powers, but there are real practical concerns about this stretch to have the AUMF covering ISIS. On the sunset, yes, as a legal matter, no administration lawyer is going to go in and propose, please end my authority in 3 years or 5 years. It just creates legal uncertainty for commanders. As I said in my written testimony, we would never have done that in World War II to say, well, we're declaring war, but only for a year, and then we'll revisit it in a period of time. And this is a serious threat. So to have Congress tell the military that we're only in it for a year or a couple of years is legally problematic. But that's from a legal perspective. From a political perspective, I certainly understand members of Congress, the American people have said, well, that last AUMF lasted for 16 years and got stretched beyond all sorts of things. So this time I'd like to have a sunset. I think that is a politically reasonable thing for you to agree on. I just say as a lawyer, one would not want to go in asking for a sunset.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.